Hi, I'm Dan Miller. Welcome to On the 250 River with Dr. Dan, where we explore real stories about real people, real time from 250 years ago as we get closer and closer to the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. This is episode 9, and I welcome you to that. I'd like you to take a moment and thank our sponsor for this week's show. He's Hezekiah Merrill, well-known shopkeeper, store owner, downtown Hartford, colony of Connecticut. And Mr. Merrill wants you to walk, ride, or get on a horse as fast as you can and get to him as soon as possible with one thing in your bag, and that is as much beeswax as you can stuff into a pouch, stuff into a jar, stuff into your pockets. Get down to him as fast as possible because he's giving good cash money for every piece of beeswax that comes into his store for this short time only. Mr. Hezekiah Merrill, his shop is located under the sign of the Unicorn and the Mortar, near the Capitol building, the courthouse itself in downtown Hartford. Please, beeswax, Mr. Merrill, as soon as you can. Thanks to him, our fictitious 1% sponsor, our 99% factual sponsor for today's show. So thank you to Mr. Merrill and all of his beeswax. What he's going to do with that beeswax, by the way, I don't know, and I'm not sure I want to know, just to keep everybody legal. So it's episode 9, as we said. It's October 31st. It's Halloween for us in 2024. This is a special edition in many ways, and not only just because it's a beautiful day. I want to take advantage of that. Who knows how many more there are where I live, which is in Indianapolis, Indiana. We can count them on fingers and toes probably for the back half of autumn that's facing us from this point forward. Halloween. Let's really zone in on Halloween. So, I've got a fire going here, by the way. If you see smoke, it doesn't mean I'm on fire, but something is. So, I have a theory about Halloween. I don't know about you, but over the last several years, 5, 10 years, I've kind of come to the realization or the belief that Halloween is really about the only time in the year, one time a year, that people who don't know each other can come together out in the streets, start out friendly and end up friendly, and have the best of intentions and assumptions about everybody they're meeting. Everybody has a good time on Halloween. Family, friends, acquaintances, strangers. We've all got something to share. We've all got something to exchange. We've all got just good feelings to have one day and night a year, it feels like, that crosses all kinds of boundaries. There just aren't many, if any other, days like that in the course of 12 months anymore. I definitely feel that way now, but I felt that way for some time. Halloween. I kind of think, when the only other place that has that are various cities that have sports championships. A Super Bowl winner has a parade, or a World Series or NBA or whatever the case may be. People rally around the team and all of that. But for all of us across the country, Halloween is really about it. I got to thinking, what if that changed overnight? What if your appreciation and how you experience Halloween just changed overnight, or it felt like it was that fast? Over the past few weeks, few months, it just a quarter or two, everything just kind of changed, and it's no longer that. Halloween's something very different now for you, whatever that is. I wonder how you'd feel about things if that were true, if it had happened like that. And I also wonder, secondly, what would you think about next Halloween? If you sat here today and it all just changed quickly, what would you think about the next year of Halloween? And how would you process that? Well, the reason I'm bringing it up, this is exactly what we've been talking about, what I've been writing about in Americanism Redux, especially this past 5, 6, 7 months, especially this past 5 or 6 weeks. Everything has changed. Everything that people thought was true a year ago really isn't true now. So they're trying to process that, and then what does that mean as they look forward a few more months into the future, or next year at this time into the future? What does that What does that mean for you? But if you want to know what it would feel like, put yourself right now, Halloween 2024, and what if everything had just kind of overturned onto itself, uprooted as it were, over the past few weeks or few months? And how would you look at a few weeks or a few months or a year from now with all of that being true? Excuse me a second. So that's the feeling I want you to try to capture for yourself, because that's the feeling that they've captured or they've been forced to capture, or whatever, chosen to capture too, whatever the case may be, 250 years ago right now. Um, so this week I wrote about a woman in a house with a very unhappy marriage and in a very difficult predicament. And she's reaching out to people for help. Um, I wrote about how much things had overturned in the town of Boston, the colony of Massachusetts, over the past few weeks, and it just, if anything looks to be true, it looks like that overturning is just going to keep rolling and rolling and rolling into the foreseeable future. At some point it will end. What will be true by that point? Is it a year from now? By that point, who knows what will be true by that stage? And I also wrote about John Adams coming home from the Continental Congress in Philadelphia. He'd been one of the delegates from Massachusetts. He'd gone through New York City to go there. He came back through New York City, leaving there. And in the course of 2 months, a lot of things had changed. He went through there 2 months ago through New York City, en route to Philadelphia. People were upbeat, sons of liberty, positive, confident, boisterous even. Now he's back 2 months later, headed the opposite direction back home. And they don't feel that way anymore. They're not boisterous, they're not upbeat, they're not all that confident. And you got to wonder, where will it all stop? That was just a 2-month time span. Overturned once, and then it overturned again. And he's witness to it there in New York City on his way home. So that's where we are 250 years ago. And I'd like you to remember, again, what would it feel like if your complete understanding of Halloween as just a day and a night had totally overturned in the last few weeks or few months? And how would you think about looking ahead into next year, and what might be on the way? Make one remark. A few people have seen this already. For whatever reason, Facebook took down my Redux entry when I put the link up to my October 31st. I'd invite you, go read it. It's on my website, October 31st, Americanism Redux. Take a look. What the heck? What the heck? I'm not quite sure what was bad about the thing, but by golly, they took it down. I did a little bit of an end run to try to get around it. If that continues happening, I'm goodbye to Facebook, and I'm hello Substack. I'll keep you posted in that regard. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope it's as beautiful for you either right now or will be or has been or something like that, but I really appreciate it. Again, you're on the 250 River with Dr. Dan Miller. Thank you so much, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Maybe the same weather. Bye-bye.